Okay, it's recording. All right. First of all, I want to show you my t-shirt that Laura FM, when she came over the other night, there's a whole video with Laura FM and DOA, which is the Defender of Ants. And each one of them, all three of us made a video with them teaching me how to use StreamYard, which is what I'm using that right now. But Laura gave me this t-shirt. You got to see it. Okay. Proud declared SP. Cool t-shirt. And for anybody who is new and doesn't know what an SP is, Scientology, if you do anything that isn't okay with them, I mean, it's really, you have to do a lot of stuff. But I left. When I left, they declared me an SP. It was just like, that's it. I mean, it wasn't like immediately. It was when Mark Bunker made the Magoo dancing in Boston and put it up on the internet, that was it. I was declared the next day. They never talked to me. They never did ethics, which you're supposed to do. They never did anything. They just declared me. And I didn't even know that was a video about me. At the time, I thought he was filming Bob and Stacy. And if you watch the video, you'll understand. So anyway, they declare you suppressive. This is an SP declare. This is mine. They don't give them out anymore because people like me and people before me who were declared show them, and they're really disgusting. And the final thing says her only terminal. What does it say? Her only terminal is the International Justice Chief via the Continental Justice Chief. There you go. So the only reason I'm making this video right now is because I've been doing an escape series. And there's two things that I want to do on this video. I've been doing an escape series, but I realized it's over on the live. You have to click live, and then that's where the whole series is. It's not here. I'm going to upload this, and then hopefully it'll work and it'll be there, and then you can see it. Because I want you guys to see the escape story. Somebody asked me, I had done it in 2010. I escaped out in 2000. Enough people had asked me kind of the same questions over and over and over. How did you get in? What helped you wake up? How did you escape out? That kind of thing. So I made a 10-part series. They're just like 5 minutes each in 2010, but it's still on my Magoo Dancing in Boston. I mean, Tori Magoo 44. And so you can see it if you want. But someone asked me to redo it now, and I think it's been good. I think it's been shorter. It's shorter than the other one was. And it's more condensed, but anyway, it's there if you want to see it. It's under the live. So in the meantime, someone asked me, this is a little bit, not part 5. I'm going to do part 5 live in a few minutes, just so you know. But of course, this isn't live, so you don't know. But anyway, I'm going to try to finish this, maybe wait 10 minutes, and then I'll go do the live. Someone asked me 2 different things. One was about Harold Bazian, which I have made a kind of an extensive video about how we met. We were on the student hat in Scientology. He was born in Scientology. I met him on course. We were twinning together. And, it was like, okay, whatever, we're twinning. Twinning means, he checks me out, I check him out. But he was like, whatever, super literate, that's what they called it, where he didn't really have to check out words. I did. And if you do all this stuff, which I don't even remember what it is, but then you're called super literate and you don't have to check out all the words. I think it's something like that. You can move along faster. Anyway, so he was super literate. I was not. He was helping check me out. I have epilepsy, which I've talked about many times, but I talk about it a lot because Scientology does use medical abuse, saying it isn't, saying it's my choice that I wanted to get off my medicine. Bullshit. The truth was, all through my experience in Scientology, 30 years, I went through a number of different things about my medication. And I would have died in 1972, except my mother jumped on the line and said, look, they're going to kill you. Either her dad's a doctor. And she said, look, my grandfather. And she said, either you're on your medication today and you call, your doctor calls me and says you're on your medication, or I'm going to fly, excuse me, out to Los Angeles. And believe me on this story, L. Ron Hubbard and the Church of Scientology will never forget your mother. Thank you to my mom, because it did save my life. It really did. And I'll do more about that later. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you that. And I actually was planning on writing something down because I forget things a lot because I had all those grand mal seizures. So I have a very bad short-term memory. And so I always say this when I speak, I'm kind of like a tree. And let's say I'm going this way, but then I get off onto this or that, different things. And then I forget where I was. And somebody has to remember it. So I always say in the audience, somebody with a good memory, please, follow along, remember what I'm saying. There you go. But now this isn't live. When it's live, somebody usually goes, oh, you were talking about blah. But anyway, I was talking about Harold, meeting Harold. I remember that. And we were talking about each other. I mean, I was telling you about him. And now this big executive comes in. And back then they were, these big Navy uniforms with all the gold things on them. And he looked really serious. And he said, everyone is staying all night tonight to finish your check sheet. And if a check sheet is like this big, I had done about this much of it. So to finish it, and that was in a couple of weeks. So it was like to finish it was, come on, give me a break. First of all, that wasn't going to happen. And secondly, he said at midnight, we'll bring in donuts and coffee. Oh yeah, that's really going to work for me. And I had to get home to get my medication. So I literally started kind of freaking out. And I said, Harold, I'm going to jump through the windows. I got to get out of here. And he goes, well, hang on. And he jumps up, goes and talks to the supervisor. He comes back and he goes, okay, let's go. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah. So we go outside and I go, what did you say? And he said, I just told you I told the supervisor you're hungry and it's really out tech. It's not right to keep studying when you're hungry. So we'll get something to eat and then we'll come back. So I said, okay. So we went to Astroburger. I love hamburgers. So that was great. And then that's really where I fell in love with Harold. I did. He's really funny. He's a fun guy. He's super smart. He's like the king of trivia. He's a really good guy. Unfortunately, when I escaped out, I thought he'd come with me. He didn't. He ended up, I don't know what they did with him, but he ended up really, really changed. And he stayed in Scientology. Now, in all fairness to him, he was born in it. His parents got in 1950. So there you go. We had a wonderful marriage. We had our son in 1977, and we just had a happy marriage. We really did. I think a lot of it, and this is going to sound funny for people that work and sleep together and everything. I'm just like, no way. Our marriage, I always say at work, because we were like ships passing in the night during the week. It was like he worked at night, I worked in the day, and we'd see each other, but it was one of those things where we weren't on top of each other all the time. So I think that gave us enough space. And on the weekend, we'd just party. And I was always like, whenever I'd see him for 27 years, I'd be like, oh, I think it was 26 years. I think I escaped out then. But anyway, it was like, oh, Harold's here. I was just always happy about it. It really made me happy, except for a little short time when I worked with him. And that's a whole different story. But anyway, that was a nightmare. And that's when I realized, no, we work great where we're ships in the night during the week. And then on the weekend, and even during the week, we'd eat together and stuff like that. We'd have dinner, but, then he'd go to work and I'd do whatever I was doing. It was a good marriage. It was too bad that it ended because he ended up remarrying, and that's that. So that's Harold. And then another person said, could I explain what happened when I put my phone number? See, when I woke up, and you have to listen to the escape story to get it, but when I woke up, I only thought there were 50 people on the internet. That's a true story. And so I thought I'd already shut down Battlefield Earth, which had like 10 to 20 people on it. So I thought, okay, so it was alt religion Scientology back then, which was linear. It wasn't a website. It wasn't a message board where someone said. It was linear. It was like one thing after another. And OSA's whole thing was if we can drive it down onto the second page, nobody will read it. And it's kind of true because people don't really read all the way down in the second page, at least back then. So, and I still think it's true. People kind of read topics and whatever they want. Anyway, point being, I put my phone number up there when I finally, and I told this in the story, when I woke up. So if you want to go watch the Escape series, you'll hear the whole story. But I basically put my phone number up on the internet thinking there's only 50 people on the internet. And then, they chased me across the country. The Tampa police got me out of the Tampa airport. And that's where we ended up right now. I'm in the Tampa airport. The Tampa police have said, stand back, because I had to pick between OSA and the 3 SPs. And Penny Jones was there going, Dory, what are you doing? What could you possibly be doing? I'm a good friend of David Miscavige's. I can get him a message tonight. And I had written David Miscavige. I had tried to get through to him saying, let me off OT7. I'm 100 pounds overweight back then. I was huge. And I said, I really need to get off of OT7 and fix being overweight. And I would just get back, okay, continue, okay, continue, okay, continue. So I was pissed off at this guy by that time. I mean, I was really pissed off. I mean, there was a lot of other people that I saw were screwed up at the top of the bridge. It's like a triangle. And at the top, most of the people were pretty screwed up. They were. I know there's some people that say, oh, I had wins and it was really great, but I saw a lot. I mean, the lady who does correction for OT8, which is the top of the bridge now, there's nothing higher, even though they say they're going to come up with 9, 10, and 11. It's like they're not. So now, where was I? See, this is where I need a moderator. Everybody's like, you got to get a moderator. And I do. I really do. I don't know how a moderator would work with this because it's not live. So that's tricky. But I don't know if you can send me a little message or something, maybe a private message that might work. I'm just trying to work all this out, just so you know, for the people watching this. It's new for me. I had made 900 videos about Scientology and all their front groups and many things that happened from 2000 to 2008. Anonymous came and helped us. That was wonderful. And then on, for a long time. But then people started getting really fancy with all these videos and popping things up. And I don't know how to do that. And I just thought, okay, I've basically said everything I have to say. That's it. So then these kids from TikTok came and started shutting down Scientology. I mean, they have every single building in all of LA. The curtains are down from the 15th floor on down. It's like, way to go. So I wanted to meet them, and I did. And then they had a big protest, and I went to that. And I've kind of gotten to meet them, and they're really, really cool people. And I really liked it. And they taught me how to do this live video, which I'm going to do in a few minutes after we end. So, but I tell them I'm learning this, and you can go watch on right now. You can see it was, I think, on the 5th of March. It was me, Lara FM, and DOA, which is Defender of Ants. And there are 3 new people for me, or 2 new people for me, and me being the klutz. They know how to do it, but they're helping me set it up. So if you can take it watching it, it's very funny. My brother just called me and said, that is a great video. It is. It's fun, because it really shows the interaction of different generations, and, it's just fun. Anyway, that's there. And I just want to let you guys know and did I answer that girl's question? Oh, yeah. What happened when I put up my phone number? I don't think I finished that. What happened when I put up my phone number? I'm going to tell you in part 6. It's not going to be part 5, but it's a good story in itself. And I might tell it in part 5. I might tell it at the end of part 5, but I will tell it. But, of course, people started contacting me. My phone number was up there. And remember, I only thought 50 people were on the internet. So how many people could call me? That was it wasn't a mistake. I don't regret it, because I've talked to a lot of wonderful people that I would have never talked to if I hadn't done that, including many, 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 many journalists that found my number on the internet, called me and said, will you do an interview? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Because I wanted to get the word out. And a lot of people didn't want to say their name. They didn't want to show their faces. So there were like 5 or 6 of us that would do these interviews. So someone called me last week and said, do you have like an in with the journalists or something? And I said, no. And I said, why do you ask me that? And she said, because you can type in your name and you're all over the internet getting interviewed. And I said, that's because from 2000, when I escaped out, to 2008, there were really only 5 or 6 people that were speaking out with their name and their phone numbers. Everyone else had, nicknames or things like that, but they didn't want to show their faces, and they were afraid to put their phone number on there. A lot of people still are. They still have a heart attack that I have it on. And I'm like, hey, it's like, I know people can find out my phone number. And I knew, this is why I put it on there, honestly. In 2000, I knew OSA would put it on there if I didn't. So I thought, all right, screw them. I'll put it on there first. It's been fine. It really has. They've called me about 80 million times. But now, here's how I answer. If they call, because they call and they'll never say anything. So if nobody says anything, this is what I say. Xenu headquarters, can I help you? And you know what? Not many people have called me since I did the Xenu headquarters, because I know they had the kids doing it and they don't know about Xenu. So they finally just thought, all right, call other people. Anyway, just a little tip. All right, so there you go. That's that. I answered those 2 questions as much as I'm going to. And now I'm going to do part 5, and it's 4:08. So probably in 10 minutes, like 4:20, around 4:20. That's when I'm going to do the live video. So I'm going to try to upload this, and then I'll do the next one, and let's hope it works. All right. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Thank you for any comments you make. I'm sorry about my frog in my throat, but what can you do? All right. So it says end recording. So I'm going to go over here and end the recording.